Hey party people, welcome to another video. Today's topic is Clearcoat Scratch Removal. What I want to start out by saying is that not all scratches are created equal. Not all Clearcoat is created equal. Not all polishes and compounds are created equal. There is a lot of moving parts. What I want to do is try to simplify this dilemma. Likely you're here because you have a scratch in your Clearcoat. You want it gone. You don't want to stare at it every time you come out to your car, every time you walk out to your car from the bank or the market, the gym, wherever. You want to remove it. So I will tell you this, the only way to permanently remove the scratch in your Clearcoat is through abrasive technology. You will literally scratch your way to success. Now, just to clarify, that is different than concealing or covering up that scratch in your Clearcoat. Scratching your way to success is all about adopting some type of abrasive technology so that you can scratch it away by putting in finer scratches to the point where it diminishes or completely removes the scratch that is unwanted. Right here is our set of scratches that are unwanted. There's an assortment. I can tell there are different depths. To clarify, you will have what's called RIDs, random isolated deep scratches, which is different than an overall effect of your paint. You may look at your paint and it appears as though there's scratches everywhere. That's what's called cobwebbing or spiderwebbing effect. That is different. That's an overall effect of your paint that, yes, it needs polishing. What I also want to clarify with scratches is this. So we have an isolated deep set of scratches, plural in this case. Just because you can remove it doesn't mean you necessarily want to remove it. Let me explain. So you have this stuff called Clearcoat, and it literally is that. Your car paint has been finished as part of the overall paint system with a top layer called Clearcoat. Now, Clearcoat is finite, meaning it's limited. It's a limited thickness. So if you accept that to remove or diminish these scratches, you have to scratch your way to success by using some type of abrasive technology to scratch your way to success. You have to accept that your Clearcoat will get progressively thinner and thinner the more you polish on this surface. What you need to know is Clearcoat is good. Clearcoat is wanted. One of the biggest key factors of Clearcoat is what's called UV protection. It literally absorbs the UV, so it protects the base or the color coat. So there's chemicals that can be added to the Clearcoat that literally absorb the UV lighting so that it protects the color of your car. But the thickness of the Clearcoat is also a big determinant in how much UV absorption or protection that Clearcoat will offer your paint. What I'm getting at is that the more you diminish the thickness of that Clearcoat, the more you have to accept the trade-off. Every benefit in life comes with its own unique set of trade-offs. What that means to you is if you're chasing one benefit, you have to accept that somewhere along the line, you've got to sacrifice other benefits in order to get this one benefit. So the two benefits here are this. You have scratches, you want them removed. So you know you can remove them through abrasive technology. That's the wanted benefit. I want my scratch removed. I have to use an abrasive polish or compound in order to do it. But I also want as much Clearcoat on my car as possible. I want as much thickness to that Clearcoat as possible. That's the other benefit. But how do you reconcile those two? How do you balance them out? How do I retain the overall thickness of my Clearcoat, but how do I get rid of this unwanted set of scratches? Well, that's where you kind of have to go in, accept a certain amount of results, knowing that you want to retain as much thickness to that Clearcoat. And only you can decide that. Now, this scratch may bother you so badly that you are willing to sacrifice the integrity of your Clearcoat. Unlikely, but maybe you do. Only you can decide that. What I want to show you is the simplest way that you're going to attack these types of scratches. So back to an earlier comment I made, which is no scratch is created equal. I have these set of scratches here. This scratch may be deeper than these other scratches. This scratch may actually be so deep that it's gone all the way through the clear coat down into the color coat. So if I kept polishing on this particular scratch, eventually I would wear out of clear coat. That would be a big problem. You just never know until you know. So as a beginner, how do you know? Like Darren, I don't know what to do now. I'm so watered up with anxiety, and at a level you've kind of confused the moment. Let me try to unconfuse the moment and bring some clarity to your dilemma, which is you have a scratch or a set of scratches on your paint that are unwanted. This is my go-to polish. I've got a whole video series on the winning attributes of this polish. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you're at home, you're looking at your car, you've got a scratch, you don't want it, you're gonna reach for some type of rubbing compound, polish, whatever. And you're going to attempt to do it by hand. So you'll take a little dollop of that polish or whatever it is, and you're going to rub on your paint. And you're gonna rub, and you're gonna rub, and you're gonna rub. And then you're gonna watch another video, and they're gonna talk about never go in a circular pattern because you'll create swirl marks. And then you think, okay, well, I'll go up and down, or I'll go left and right, side to side. I don't know, I'm so confused. The reality is left and right here is gonna be different than left and right there. So if this is up and down here, and I suddenly walk over to this part of the hood, and I do the same pattern, is that up and down, or is that now left and right, or left and right? Wait, which is it? So that's just hype in the industry. Point I want to really drive home is this. Yes, you can get some results doing it by hand. You just never know until you're getting it. Ideally, what you want to do is reach for a machine polisher. I know it sounds scary. I'm going to show you how it can be less scary. Here I've got a buffer. So with Darren's way, you can really pick one polish, one pad, and one buffer. Now, if you're a beginner, you're gonna default to what's called a dual action polisher. I do recommend one of these for any beginner because they have the easiest learning curve to them. Polish on the pad. Now, I know as a beginner, you're gonna be in a high level of anxiety if it's really your first rodeo. And you're gonna wanna default to the safest possible way. So you're gonna dial this down to the lowest speed setting. You're probably gonna pick the softest pad because you're afraid. You've watched too many videos and they've put the fear of God into you with all the endless hype and BS. So I'm gonna tell you this. Yes, I recommend that polish because it is the original true single product polish, which means it can go from heavy defect removal down to a swirl-free finish with one polish. Yes, I promise you, you can really do it with one polish. So you apply that or whatever polish or compound you want, but pick a stiff pad, a firm foam pad. The manufacturer will label that as a cutting pad, a medium, a fine, a finishing pad, whatever. But I recommend you pick the firmest pad possible because it's still massively safe, but you're gonna get more cut. And I know that sounds like a scary word. I don't want to cut my clear coat. Well, you actually do want to cut your clear coat. You want to cut it with the abrasive technology of whatever product you have chosen. Remember, we've got to scratch our way to success. Place the pad on it. Now you can dial it to whatever speed you want. Just remember, you have control. You have control in how much pressure you put on the buffer. You have control over the speed setting. You have control as to how long you work an area, so you have a lot of control. But I'm gonna set this to a level 5 because I know I want this buffer and that pad and that polish to do as much work as possible in removing these clear coat scratches. Take your microfiber cloth and yes, I always recommend a microfiber cloth. You can pick whatever manufacturer you want. Make sure it's a microfiber cloth because it's the most friendliest, softest cloth for your paint. So here, and I'll zoom in, see if we can see it. So I had, let's say, approximately 50 unique defined scratches. Now I've reduced it down to, I would say, 5. And I know the camera won't pick up the subtleties because I'm actually cheating. I'm actually using my readers to magnify this, and this is one of my tricks, because I know if I can nail it to a level with magnifiers and I take them off, it's like, whoa, that is really, really good. Point being is, this is dramatically altered in a permanent way because I have scratched my way to success. Not perfection, success. Two different things. Let me see if I can apply a voice of reason for you in a moment. No one is going to scrutinize your car as tightly or rigorously as you are. What I mean by this is you have weighed in on the balance between removing that Clearcoat scratch and retaining the thickness or integrity of your Clearcoat. So you may be willing to polish it so aggressively to the point where the scratch is completely gone, but what you've now done is you've severely diminished the integrity of your Clearcoat, because once again, thickness does count in this case. But let's say that you have a little bit of scratch left. So I know I can scrutinize anything to a degree that is completely unrealistic. Remember, in most cases, this is probably your daily driver, if not even a weekend warrior. Point being is we want to retain the thickness of our Clearcoat. So you've got to weigh in on that every single time. So if you've done enough polishing where it's dramatically improved the overall effect or the appearances of those scratches, and you pull back, and now you're checking out your car from what I call normal viewing distances. What are normal viewing distances? Well, it's the distance in which you would normally view your car. How's that for simplicity? But in the context of this, what I mean is you can scrutinize anything to the point where it's just going to drive you batshit crazy. We don't want that. I want to make your experience with your car one of pleasure. There's going to be enough aggravation along the way. So how can we make it more pleasurable? That's where you reel in your expectations to a more realistic point of perspective, which is this. Hey, if I can stand here and look at my car and say, wow, that looks pretty damn good, then I find that acceptable, with the understanding that I can go in hot, go in at a level 12 and over scrutinize anything, and that's just gonna wind you and wad you up to the point where you're just gonna go crazy. We don't want that. So that's where you have to apply some realistic perspective. We've got to understand that, once again, that your Clearcoat is good, it's wanted, and thickness matters. You want to retain as much thickness as possible, but only you can decide that. Hopefully, in this little tutorial, you've learned a couple little nuggets that you can take and apply into your world and get better results and perhaps a little more peace of mind. With that said, always check the links below. It'll take you to my website where I wax even longer and stronger on any of these subjects, and you can find the exact products and pads and buffers and anything else that you want. Check the links below. Leave some comments below. Those comments aren't just for me, they're for the guys that wander in after the fact. So as a community, we can kind of learn from each other. With that said, we'll see you on the next video.